Hi, this is Llyn Hunter, Llynhunter, storyboard artist and illustrator. And today we're going to go through the third iteration of my writer's block. This is a particular sketchbook that's got like close to 400 pages, and the rule that I have for this particular sketchbook is I write on this side of the page, and I'll usually put an illustration of some kind on this side of the page. These two do not have to coordinate with each other, and I can write anywhere in the book at any time, but it was one of those things where I got it as a lark because it looks like a block of wood, and it's kind of fun, and I'm going through it basically a page at a time, so I have a record of it, and I thought you'd enjoy seeing it as well. I'm not even probably a fifth of the way through it right now. And I'm going at about 10 minutes at a time. This page I wrote, Aristophanes calculated a close estimate for the circumference of the earth around 2nd century BCE in Alexandria, Egypt. His work and writings were all lost when the Great Fire destroyed all the books and scrolls of the library contained in 391 ACE. Note, it is thought that the cost of keeping a house of old religious texts was a bigger destruction. Books are fragile things too. I write a variety of things in my sketchbooks. I'll write, things that other people have thought about, things that I think about, something that is of interest to me. With this one, it's one of those things where the flat earthers are driving me nuts. There is no flat earth. We knew that the earth was round. Actually, the Chinese or the Indians of Asian India probably knew about it long before we did. You can test it yourself by sticking a stick in the ground and measuring a shadow at one part of the earth and doing it at another part of the earth at the same time during the day, and call each other, and you find out that the length of those shadows are two different lengths. If the earth was flat, they'd be the same length. There's all kinds of ways to test that the earth is round. The earth is round. And I wrote that this is the kind of an old, I think it's from, again, an Indian legend about the fact, the earth is on the backs of turtles that are on the backs of elephants, and that the sky is a dome. We've had all kinds of attitudes of what the earth was when we couldn't take a rocket ship and look out at the planet. But we've known about it since, around 400 years. This is 400 years before Christ was born. And that's just in the Western world. So the earth is not flat. If you know anybody who thinks it's flat, it's not. We've proven it over and over and over, and we can prove it a million ways and still prove the earth is not flat. And it was just driving me nuts, so I had to write it down. Okay, next page. I was trying to do a kind of a landscape here. Sometimes just fiddling around, scribbling. What it says over here, want something too much and all common sense goes out the window. I had a situation happen to me, that's probably about this time several years back, where I got swindled out of $4,000 because I wanted a job so badly that I believed, I got an email that said that the GOAT Group wanted me as a graphic designer. And the email was so believable. It was a worse swindle than one of those African prince emails. Be careful if you want a job too badly. I had been out of animation for about a year and couldn't find a job, and kept on sending out resume after resume, applying for job after job. And I got this email, and they said that I needed to purchase equipment for the job. And I've had done this before. I mean, around COVID with Warner Brothers, I went down to the lot and signed out the computers and worked from home and what have you. With this one, this was a company I hadn't worked with before. I I wanted the job so badly that it blinded my brain to seeing that it was a swindle. And when it was over with, I mean, I figured after um, basically their check, they gave me a check, and the check passed through the bank, so I thought they were legitimate. And what I didn't know is it used to be that checks would have to wait 3 days, and the bank would verify the check. And once the check was verified, it was legitimate. Well, at that time, and this was like 4 years ago, banks no longer, they said, oh, well, you're responsible for if you take a check and we'll verify it, but you're responsible if it's not real. And I didn't know this, and a lot of people got swindled out of their money because of this. Checks now have a 24-hour hold on them. They used to always have that, but for a while there, they didn't. And swindlers were getting away with a lot of that because of people like me who thought, oh, well, this is a legitimate check because the bank verified it. And I basically got swindled out of $4,000 because the banks changed their laws. And that's why it's like, believe something too much and common sense will go out the window. I'm a very intelligent person. I didn't think that I would get swindled. Be careful. You might get swindled too, but that was why that one got written. This one, fast sketch. I don't know. It's like I'm not real happy with the balance or what have you on it. This is, again, one of those when I don't particularly like this sketch. You might like this sketch. Be careful when you're doing a sketch and you look at it and go, yeah, I don't like that one. Oh, believe me, how many times somebody else has liked what I did when I didn't like it. Okay, this one. I'm not a great artist, but I'm a passable chameleon. This is me being, I can imitate just about any other artist's style if I need to. It's also me saying, it's like, yeah, I think I'm a good artist, but maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. And the thing is that it doesn't matter whether you're a good or a bad artist. Just draw. I mean, it's one of these things where it's like none of us believe in ourselves all the time. Sometimes you believe in yourself more than others. I think that the artists who have bigger egos, the ones that we sometimes don't like, they're the ones that succeed. Sometimes you got to believe in yourself even when you don't. And it's I'm a Gemini, and it's like I don't really believe in zodiac, but it's like sometimes I believe in that dual personality thing that, sometimes I think I'm the best artist in the world and sometimes I think I'm the worst. This one was kind of fun. It was like, okay, I love chameleons, obviously. I'm a big fan of all kinds of animals, but I was just playing with the face and throwing it into a human type face and a human type situation and just playing around. And again, these are ones where I wrote the information first, and I did these kind of afterwards, and they worked around whatever I wrote. Like I said, sometimes I'll do the illustration or the sketch to go with the words. Sometimes not. It just all depends on what I'm feeling like. You can be creative only if you love life enough that you want to enhance its beauty. Osho. And this particular writing, I thought it was an interesting saying. Osho is a Japanese philosopher. And over here, I was just playing with doodling different types of design stuff. I don't believe I understand pattern enough. This year, I am going to focus on doing more pattern, and I'm going to focus on doing more interiors and backgrounds. Primarily because as a storyboard artist for animation, I have to draw backgrounds all the time in the respect that I have to think about different angles and different setups. And you're given a background, and I think in 3 dimensions. So the thing is that I'm always moving the camera around in my head. So I understand how to draw backgrounds. If I have a background to look at, I can put anybody anywhere in a background. But coming up with my own backgrounds in my imagination is a little bit more difficult. Okay, and I turned the page, of course, and not sure about that Osho saying. Right after I wrote the Osho saying, I said, not sure about the Osho saying. If that were true, how does that apply to Darwin or Tesla or H.G. Wells? Creativity is not always about beauty. How about inventiveness for itself? Besides, define beauty. It has as many degrees and definitions as there are people. Pretty quote that, on reflection, isn't quite true. So it's like, as I was thinking about, when I wrote this down, I thought, oh, yeah, this is an amazing quote. I'm going to write that down. And I wrote it down, and then I thought about it for a while, and I thought about the fact that the quote itself is saying, you can only love life enough. You can be creative only if you love life enough, if you want to enhance its beauty. Well, creative does not always mean beauty. So that's why I'm saying, not sure about that Osho saying, if it's true. How does that apply to Darwin, who was creative, in a thought of looking at the world and how it interacts with each other and how animals develop, or Tesla coming up with, being creative to come up with the idea for how to make electricity and use electricity, and how electricity really works when we didn't even know what electricity was other than lightning. Or H.G. Wells, when you're talking about, was he creative to enhance beauty by coming up with War of the Worlds or From Earth to Moon or any of those? So it's like, when you say creativity is not always about beauty, it's sometimes about other things besides beauty. Like I said, how about inventiveness for itself? And again, besides define beauty. That's why I was going, sometimes when you, here's a really famous saying, and you look at it and you go, it sounds kind of pretty, but maybe not quite as true as I thought in the first place. And over here, again, I was just playing, sometimes I just have to, put a drawing down in a book, and I was playing with expression and facial shape and, interacting with putting some design on it. And just, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I got to draw something in my sketchbook today. What do I want to draw in my sketchbook? And sometimes something, imaginative comes to you, and sometimes it doesn't. I like to draw fairies. I like to draw fantasy pieces, and that's just where that one came from. The next page. Does practice make perfect? Not really. It'll make whatever you are practicing better, maybe. I personally can't see it not helping, and let's face it, it will most likely not make you worse. I actually believe a lot in practice. This is probably one of the worst drawings I've ever done of Brain. I did a lot of Brain. I have done a lot of Brain. I've drawn a lot of Pinky and the Brain over the years. If you're familiar with Pinky and the Brain, because they redid Animaniacs a couple years back, and I got to work on it from 2021 to 2022. And I worked on the first iteration of it, the 5th season, around, I believe it was 1984. Not 84, 94. Yeah. As I'm thinking back, I've worked in animation for 33 years, and it's quite a while ago. It was in the 90s. So when I started working on Brain again, I had to practice working on Brain again, because he was an entirely different version of him, redesigned by Genevieve Tsai. She's amazing. Go look up her work. But it's like I was literally practicing drawing Brain downshot without having any models to look at. And that's why I was thinking, actually, I think I drew this and then I wrote that. But it's like, does practice make perfect? It doesn't really always make you perfect, but it's going to make you better. Maybe. Yeah. It does make you better, in some way or another. And if it doesn't, it's like that. Won't make you worse. You'll go somewhere. And it's like one of my favorite sayings was that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is a sign of insanity. And I wrote it down. No, then nobody would practice anything because we do the same things over and over and over again. I used to play judo, and you would do the same throw over and over and over again. And my sensei used to say 1,000 throws, 1,000 times. He would say 1,000 times. You do it 1,000 times, you'll get it right. So that saying about insanity is total BS. Anyways, next one. It doesn't matter if you draw well or poorly, just draw. And that was a day when, it's like I started with this one. It was like I wanted to put something in the sketchbook, didn't put something in the sketchbook. Okay, when in doubt, my standard lines, when in doubt, draw fish. When in doubt, draw pencil, draw anything, but just draw. I mean, get a sketchbook like this, get any sketchbook, and make sure that you draw in it every day. The 100 hands, 100 faces, 100 bodies, even if they look like crud, do them. Okay, I am a foul weather friend. And again, I'm not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg in this one, whether it was this one or this one. I am a foul weather friend. I will be there for you if you have an emergency, if you need anything, if you need help, I'm there. When it's fair weather, I'm nowhere to be found. So it's like I have many acquaintances and a handful of good friends, and those who support me, I think, are the best. I don't stay in touch as often as I should, and I wish I was better at it. But as artists, let's face it, the sad thing is that as an artist, usually you do have a tendency to be somewhat a loner, because this profession, what we do, whether we make money at it or not, it's difficult to make art in front of an audience. Unless you are performing artist, then you have to have an audience. I'd like to have an audience, and that's why I do these videos. Let's face it, I'm here because you're here, and it's like, it's nice to have a record of what I do. It's also nice to think that there's somebody out there looking at my work. This one, it's like I was just having fun with the duck and a bird, and it's like, notice his wings are keeping this little guy dry. So I think I started out with this, I'm a foul weather friend over here, just playing with the letters. And you'll notice, again, when I'm doing sketchbooks, I don't try to be perfect. I mean, look at that A, look at my lettering. It's like, I'm afraid of making mistakes, and I make mistakes. And then what you got to do with this mistake is probably try to make it better. And if it doesn't, let's face it, you don't get to see Da Vinci's bad drawings. Nobody ever shows you the bad stuff. But anyways, he's trying to keep the little bird dry with his wings. So they're dancing in the rain because, some birds really love the rain. And this duck is keeping the little songbird dry. Okay, how wonderful to be able to enjoy a bittersweet cup of coffee. I just wanted to write something, and I was playing with the letter forms. And once I did that, I did this over here. And it's like, this one was one of those drawings that I kept on trying to get something out of it in a particular way. So I drew it in pencil, and then I put the pen over it, and then I tried to do something else with it, and it came out kind of fun. There's still things I like and don't like about it, but there's a point when you got to say, okay, the drawing's done, let's move on. Nonsense makes the best sense. I'm going to finish that in this one because we've already gone about 15 minutes or over 15 minutes. And I know sometimes that when you're going through something like this, okay, how much of a video can I watch? But nonsense makes the best sense. And that's what I drew this guy over here. His wings don't work. He's a little like mouse-like thing sitting on a flower. And it was just having fun that particular day, doing something silly to go with whatever's over here. And I'm a big one for nonsense makes the best sense, because that's the kind of thing I like to do the most. I like to do silly and fun and ridiculous. One thing too, this was done with a Pilot razor point, I believe. It's a water-based ink, and something that you want to do sometimes if you have a water-based felt tip, this is a water-based felt tip, I will lick the end of my finger with my tongue, and I will smear the page to get the nice shading. So sometimes when you're drawing, if you're sketching out in the wild, or just something like this where you want to give a little color or a little volume to your drawing, it's one thing you can do. I like to play with tools, and a Pilot razor point is like one of my favorite ones because it will give this wonderful wash. If you're drawing and you're sketching, you want to just get a wash, and you can just lick the tip of your finger and take it over, and then when you're done, go to a sink and wash it out. But that's it for this viewing of my writer's block. I will be back. I want to basically record the entire book for myself and for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of it. Thanks for stopping by. Please like and subscribe, because if I get up to 1,000 at least, the good old YouTube will monetize my channel. And I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for stopping by again. Llyn Hunter, Llynhunter. Again, like, subscribe. Come over to my Patreon. I post a lot of fun stuff there too. Okay? Talk to you later. See you later. Bye.